The Writers and Actors Strike of 2023. Areas of research in this presentation: the introduction, the history of the issue, the current state of the issue, and citations. Introduction. April 18th, 2023. 97% of the Writers Guild of America voted to strike if an agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers was not met within the deadline. By May 1st, the WGA had already started on lengthy negotiations with the AMPTP on behalf of several major studios. This includes Apple Studios, Lionsgate, NBC Universal, Netflix, Paramount Global, Sony Pictures, Walt Disney, Warner Bros., as well as Amazon Studios. As an agreement was not met within the deadline of the eve of May 2nd, the WGA anonymously decided to strike. But why is this happening now? The COVID-19 pandemic caused a swift halt in the film and television industry and canceled an incredible amount of projects, leaving writers and actors without paychecks. Unlike the rest of the world, their careers did not go back to normal after the pandemic had ended, because when everyone was stuck indoors, streaming services had emerged as the major way to consume media. This popularization of streaming services once again leaves writers and actors without a suitable check, as residuals on streaming services are practically non-existent. However, before we get into the real meat and potatoes of this issue, there is a lot of general knowledge that is necessary to understand why this is so important. First, a union. The objective of a union is so members can work together to negotiate and enforce a contract with management that guarantees necessities in the workplace, like decent raises, affordable health care, job security, and stable schedule, as well as the better workplace and working conditions without the fear of retaliation. The Writers and Actors Guilds were created to protect writers and actors from Hollywood and its nature, to push people to the edge and give them absolutely no credit. Residuals are long-term payments to those who worked on films, television shows, negotiated by unions for reruns and other airings after the initial release. The basic pay structure was developed the first time writers and actors were on strike together in the 1960s and has more or less been stable since. There is a different formula for the WGA and SAG-AFTRA. In streaming, there are two common types of residuals. A fixed residual is when a determined amount based on a formula agreed upon by each union is paid to an actor or writer for shows created for new media. A variable or percentage-based residual is a type of residual that takes into account the gross income, then applies the individual guild percentage rate to the gross income, then the number gets divided by the qualified talent on said project. What are WGA and SAG-AFTRA? The WGA, or the Writers Guild of America, is the joint effort of two different American labor unions representing writers in film, television, radio, and online media: the Writers Guild of America East and the Writers Guild of America West, headquartered in New York City and Los Angeles, respectively. Although each organization operates independently, they perform some common activities, including negotiating contracts and launching strike actions in unison, as seen here. SAG-AFTRA, or the Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, formed in the 1930s. This all started in 1925 with the Maskers Club. The Maskers Club was formed by the actors who were fed up with the grueling work hours of Hollywood studios, as well as the incredibly unsafe conditions. This then inspired a long web of unions who were created, combined, and destroyed until 1933, when the Screen Actors Guild was created. The current strike. Now that the basic knowledge of the issue is known, we can really dive in. From May 2nd to September 27th, 2023, the Writers Guild of America, or the WGA, went on strike over a labor dispute with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, the AMPTP. This strike lasted 148 days. From July 14th, 2023, SAG-AFTRA has been on strike over an ongoing labor dispute with the AMPTP, the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. This strike has not yet ended. The effect of this strike. Both the 2023 SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes have contributed to the biggest interruption to the American film and television industry since the impact of COVID-19. This marks the first time that writers and actors have double struck together since the 1960s in the Hollywood double strike. The writers' strike rules are simple. If you are a guild member, do not write for any struck company, don't negotiate or discuss present or future writing projects, nor advise any. The rules of the SAG-AFTRA strike established on July 10th are a little bit more complicated. Guild actors cannot participate in promotional work, press junkets, film premieres, and events. The strike action does not apply to SAG-AFTRA members who work under contracts that are negotiated by the union separately from the AMPTP contracts, including broadcast journalists, work in podcasts, independent films, student films. They're all allowed, as is quote-unquote unscripted television works, such as game shows, reality competition shows, documentaries, and talk shows. Internationally, SAG-AFTRA members are authorized to continue work in the United Kingdom under pre-established equity collective bargaining agreements. The response. Before the end of SAG-AFTRA's negotiations, one anonymous AMPTP executive stated that their current strategy was to, and I quote, allow things to drag on until union members started losing their apartments and losing their houses, end quote. This was to force SAG-AFTRA members into less favorable negotiating positions to survive. Bob Iger, the CEO of Walt Disney Company, said that actors' demands were, and quote, not realistic, adding that they were, quote, adding to the set of challenges that this business is already facing, end quote. Iger has been criticized by these remarks in light of his contract with Disney, which allows him to earn as much as $27 million in 2023 between his salary and bonuses. Monday, the October 9th, the Writers Guild of America announced that 99% of members voted to ratify the 2023 MBA. An MBA is a simplified version of the Memorandum of Agreement, or the MOA. The terms of this new agreement are extensive, but to put it simply, writers earned increased pay, health, and pension contributions with the contract extension, as well as new streaming residuals and viewership-based streaming bonuses, as well as acceptable terms of AI. As of right now, SAG-AFTRA is still on strike, but this win for the WGA could help them end their strike. Citations.